Hello, Abraham. It's exciting to be on my first cruise and be here and be with some friends I know and meeting all these awesome new friends here and creating. I loved what you said yesterday about getting out ahead of it and then the Vortex version of it. And then also I heard you, and I'm not sure if I heard this the way you meant it, but you mentioned...
We meant it a little different than you heard it, but let's talk about it.
Commanding. Were you referring to commanding your life in the way of the Vortex version? Or what were you referring to when you said that?
Well, we mean that you, through life, set into motion what you want. You are the decider. You get to tell the universe what you want. And you've come here to do it from this perspective. This is the leading edge. You come from a platform. We're talking about the non-physical essence of you. We're talking about the vibrational you. You come from this platform of well-being and worthiness and knowledge. And it is from that powerful, balanced intentionality that you started into this physical exploration, knowing that through life you would explore enough contrast that you would come to your decisions, and your decisions or preferences are literally commanding the wherewithal of the universe in the direction of your choices. And we used that strong word because we wanted it to sound unequivocal. We wanted you to hear it as your choice. There's a whole lot that we said yesterday that Esther said to a friend. Abraham always throws things out, it feels like almost to tease us, to see if there's something that somebody's going to hear and want to pick up on and go further, because sometimes there's someone ready to take the bait, to take the new trek into the new place. Often we hear it because it's something that your life experience is causing you to explore. So why do you think that word stood out for you?
In 2017, I stood in a space with a good friend here, Barbara, and I said to myself, I want a loving and beautiful relationship. And 11 days later, bam, I met the spouse of my dreams. And we're married, and we just bought a house. And I could not script the way that it unfolded. I felt as if that was commanding because it was feelings and emotions and seeing him as myself and myself as him through past experiences, like mind-blowing, not logical. So I felt as if by me standing in that space of 100% knowing my connectedness, you said confidence yesterday, in alignment, so sure, knowing that this is what I want and then letting it go, that it just flowed. And it's
well, doesn't that fit
beautiful.
perfectly with your opening words to us? In other words, isn't that all about what that is? Connecting with that broader perspective. There are two ways of looking at what you've just described to us. We're going to describe the two ways, and then we're going to tell you really what's up with this. One way of looking at it is that through life experience, you've parlayed a desire that is calling you. And now you are ready to allow yourself to move there. And so you're going to like this. That's the story of, here I'm in this vehicle. Ooh, looky there. Here I'm in this vehicle. Ooh, looky there. Here I'm in this vehicle. Ooh, looky there. Here I am in this vehicle. Ooh, looky there. So life causes you to get more clear about what you want, and all along is putting it into the vortex until this vivid, real, powerful, momentous, what you want to call future experience, what we want to call present tense, vibrationally becoming, is happening. And then you, in your state of alignment, as you have described it accurately, feeling the impulse to make the statement. So the question is, these are the two ways. Did your making the statement make it happen? Or were the thoughts turning to the things enough that you made the statement right before it happened?
A little of both.
Esther and Jerry were in Tucson the year they were married. And they were driving down a well-traveled and often traveled by them street. And Esther said, I want one of those saguaro cactuses for my very own. Now, they lived in an apartment. She had no place to put it. It was big, really, really big, but she wanted it. And Jerry said, well, we can't take that home because they're protected. You have to get permission, you have to get a permit. And then Esther said, well, it's all right, I don't know how we would move it anyway. And then they turned the corner and there was one on a truck, a big truck that had big claws that had apparently plucked it out of the ground and then held it on itself, and now the truck was driving down the road holding this big saguaro cactus. And Jerry and Esther, it was before they had met us in this form, they wondered about it a lot and talked about it with us once they met us. Did inner being know that that cactus was on that truck and therefore inspire interest in it to Esther before she rendezvoused with it? Or did her new interest in it have enough power to create it in the moment? What's your guess? Wrong guess. This is the world of rendezvousing, and what we want to call your attention to, thoughts turning to things. So you've been living life and you've been putting a lot into your vortex, and it's been combining and coming together, and when something that you want mixes with something else you want and mixes with something else you want, which mixes with something else you want, it brings on a complexion that's different than the pieces that you put in it. In other words, it's evolving and becoming more and becoming more and becoming more. It's becoming more of what you are asking for, because everything that you are asking for, every thought that you think begins to think thoughts. But since it's a thought that you thought, since it's a desire that you launched, and since your inner being, this sounds like it's way out there, but it's exactly the way that it is, as this thought that's being thought is now being thought by your inner being, encouraged by your inner being, it's only including the things that are a vibrational match to it. So your creations in your vortex are perfection. They match the desire, the pureness of what you're asking for. And so here it is, it's maturing, and it's more and more ready to come out to play with you in a way that you can acknowledge its realness. But in order for you to play with it, your preparation has to match it, which means you have to be a vibrational match. That's why we're talking about the vehicle leads to the vehicle leads to the vehicle leads to the vehicle. Eventually you will be a vibrational match on subject after subject to what's in your vortex, and so you will get to witness those thoughts turning to things. So this conversation is about two things. It's about your creation of this magnificent relationship, which you've been working on for a while. Every rotten relationship you've lived is part of it. Some of them more than others. One in particular.
Yes.
So here's this magnificent creation which has been ready for you longer than you've been ready for it. And that's why it felt sudden, and that's why it felt like you commanded it. So the question is, once I command, does the universe then deliver? No, the answer is, when you get to the place that you are able to command, you're ready to receive what's been waiting for you. And a lot of people, if you don't get those steps right, then a lot of people are out there demanding things, commanding things. And that's when you start doubting yourself, because you believe in the power of your words and your command and the respect that the universe is supposed to give to you. And what we want you to believe in is your softness and your love and your harmony and your good feelings and your satisfaction. And yeah, really good.
Is this what you refer to when you say, and I've heard this before, we choose because I've heard you say we choose the people in our lives, the family, our siblings, but then I heard you say we choose the vibrational essence of them. And I was like, oh, wow.
All that means is you've created a vortex, and it will play out according to the path of least resistance. You're creating a vibrational version of everything, even now. Isn't it nice that it's the same now here as it was even before, because the laws are so consistent? So there is always a vibrational version, which then fills in and fills in, fills in, fills in, fills in through the path of least resistance with the criteria that matches it perfectly. Did you get that? So it might be something that you care not to concern yourself with if you've decided to feel good, and you mostly do. Esther was talking to a friend and she said, it's like getting hungry again. You have this satisfying meal and it's like you think you'll never be hungry again, but you will. And when you get hungry again, you don't freak out. Oh my God, I'm hungry again. I thought that last meal would hold me, but it didn't. Well, the last contrast isn't going to hold you either. Contrast is like the next meal. It's the hunger that gets you ready for the next meal. That was her friend's speculation. Pretty wise, don't you think? It's like that, isn't it? It's like that. So you're not ever going to get it done, and you're not ever going to get it wrong. So where are you now?
Will you just answer the next question I was going to ask about that? Is that the law of being eternal? You can never get it done and you can never get it wrong? Because I've heard you say that those were laws as well.
Well, maybe not laws so much as unchangeable aspects of the law. You just can't stop being eternal. You either are or you aren't, and you are. You're eternal. And if you're eternal, then there's always going to be more. And if there's always going to be more, then there's got to be choices. Yeah? And you might as well accept that being eternal is a good thing, because you can't change it. I've decided to cease being because this is hard.